Hey y'all, I am back with this chicken and it's cooled off. So let me show you what I do after my chicken gets cooled off. The first thing we're gonna do is take the skin off, and I'm using this pan because I'm gonna, use all of it, leave the scraps over here, and it avoids so much of the mess. But anyway, let me get this thing right here so I can put the chicken in it. So let's take that skin off. Now, how are y'all doing today? Y'all been with me all day on this chicken. Ooh, let's get that skin off. You just gotta go in there and kind of manhandle it and get the skin off the chicken. So this is how you do it. Go down the leg, pull it off. This is cooked very well, and so it's gonna pull off real easy. You just get a pile of skin over there. And I think I've told y'all before, I use that skin to make popsicles for my dogs. And if you wanted to see how to do it, just scroll down on my Facebook page or go to my YouTube and you can watch it on there, and it's called popsicles. So you just break this up. Now y'all, one thing you gotta do about this, you gotta get your hands dirty with this. I'm just gonna tell you. And it is so worth it. It is so worth it. All that skin is really good for all the vitamins that have gone in that broth. And remember, we're in the middle of making some broth for people who might be sick. So now I've got all the skin off, just about all the skin off. There's a piece that's being stubborn. Y'all don't ever have anybody be stubborn around you, do you? All right. If you love people, even stubborn people, give me a big old heart and let me know, because we love everybody, and sometimes I'm the one who's stubborn, you know it. All right, I'm tearing this apart and starting to break it off in pieces and pull the meat off. And you just got to get your hands in there, and this is what it looks like. And you just start making it in pieces. Ooh, yeah. There we go. It's not glamorous doing this, but it really, your family's gonna love it. Now I put my bones on one side and the skin on the other, because y'all know I gotta take care of my puppies. And they're really not puppies, they're grown dogs, but still. Now what am I gonna do with all this meat? Sometimes I make yummy chicken pie out of it. Sometimes I make chicken soup. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you how I turn all this into a big pot of chicken soup. So let me get all this off. And like I said, it's not glamorous, but it is what you have to do when you cook a full chicken. There you go. Pull all that meat off. Get it in the bowl. It's going to be so worth it. And sometimes you get tendons and ligaments that don't want to let go, so you have to kind of be a little tough. Get your aggressions out as you tear up this chicken here. But it's going to be good. Good chicken. And it's slippery. And I don't know if y'all know this or not, I read all kind of cookbooks and different things from all different centuries that I've got. Got some real old ones. And you know what they used to use to soften their hands? The fat off a chicken. I'm not kidding. I read that and I thought, ooh. But you know, when you're working on a chicken, it does make your hands covered up with all this. So it's interesting. But anyway, let me keep getting to work tearing this up. Getting this chicken off. Oh yeah. Now look, on the back, there's this little indentation right back here, and you just push your finger into it and you get a big piece of chicken out of it. And that piece of chicken is called the oyster of the chicken. And that's the cook's. So if you're cooking in the chicken and you've got, cooking chicken, frying it up or whatever, that's your piece right there. The cook gets the really good piece of chicken. And it wasn't long ago, my daughter was working in the kitchen with me, and she said, and I pulled that off and popped it in my mouth. There's two of them. So she got the other one, and she said, I had no idea. I said, yep, that's called the oyster of the chicken. All right, get that pulled off a little bit more. Here's the thigh. Ooh, yeah. And when I was a young married, we were tight, our budget was real tight for the groceries. And what I used to do, I didn't know how to cut up a chicken. And so what I did, I called my mom and I said, Mother, these are a lot cheaper, the ones that are not cut up. Can I come watch you cut up a chicken? So I just went up there the next time she had a chicken and watched her cut it up and learn how to do it. Because I like to save money on stuff, especially at my grocery bill. So anyway, here we go with this chicken. Now, what y'all been doing? Do any of you make your chicken different? If you do, leave me some notes down below. And Let me get more and more and more in the chicken. Here we go. See, it's a labor of love when you do this for somebody. If you know how much work it takes, then you know they really love me because they made that chicken soup or whatever, because it's not a fast thing. And you can see I've been doing this all day, even though in between I did other things. I would go, you know, do a little laundry. I did the dishes, just things like that. Did my devotional. We all got to stay in good on our devotionals and keep it up to date because it makes us feel better. Now these are the breasts, and I'm going to pull them off like this in case I want to do a chicken salad or something like that. You can tear them up if you want to, or you can kind of leave them whole. Okay, I'm going to do this. This is the other one, and this is the loin is up under it, so let me just pull that out, the chicken tender. And yeah, and I got to clean these off good. I hate wasting food. If you hate wasting food, and I do, y'all, I hate wasting food. Give me a thumbs up if you hate wasting food. I'm always coming up with ways to redo things if I have leftovers, so they're brand new to everybody, but they taste good and I haven't wasted food. It's just something about me. I can't do it. I cannot waste food. And if I see somebody throw a lot of stuff away, I'm like, oh, somebody hungry would have appreciated that. But you just gotta know, I love to feed people. And I can't stand the thought of people being hungry. You know what I mean? I just can't stand it. So if y'all go read in my book, The Ugly Biscuit Story, you'll read about when my son was hungry out at the Air Force Academy when they dropped him out in the middle of the woods for 2 weeks. And he wanted some of my biscuits. So in my book, Happiness is Homemade, y'all can read all about some of those stories that have shaped my life. All right, now I'm leaving these whole and popping them in here, and I'll do something with them later. And this is kind of what oh, there's the other oyster. Let me get that off of there. There we go for the cook. Okay, y'all can see what it looks like when it's all left over. And what I'll do for my puppy dogs is I'll take a little bit of chicken skin and I'll drop it in a plastic container, pour a little broth in it, and then put one of their little dog biscuits in it and freeze that for them because they like it on a hot summer day. But anyway, that's what I've got here right now. Now we're gonna move on with making the soup, okay? And stretching our beautiful broth as far as we can. So give me a second to clean up. The next thing we're gonna do, we've removed the skin from the chicken and we've got the skin off and the bones are discarded. The next thing we're gonna do is cut up our vegetables. Now remember, normally if I'm making chicken and dumplings or whatever, I don't even have to do that, but because I've got some people that's been sick, and y'all, I know you know this, but COVID is still going around, we need to be prepared. And I like to freeze my, broth, and I'm gonna do some of that today. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. I'm not holding anything back. Okay, let me wipe my hands. Dealing with this stuff, and remember, it's cooked now, but it is sticky. All right, I have a knife. I think I have a knife. Hold on, let me get a knife. That's too long. Well, I don't have a knife, but I will in a minute. Okay, here we go. This is how I cut up for the soup. If I'm gonna feed somebody who's sick, I do these in little bitty chunks, okay? Let me move that bowl out of the way. I can't tell what you can see and what you can't, but I do them in little bitty pieces about that size so it won't be, you know, bad for them when they start swallowing it. So what we're gonna do now is doll this up and let our broth become chicken soup. Okie dokie. Can y'all see what I'm doing? I'm chopping up my cute little carrots. And what y'all been doing? Are you enjoying this summer? I've enjoyed the summer. I've got to see my grandkids. I've got to see my kids. And I've made quite a bit of homemade ice cream. So between me and you, I may need to start exercising a little more. But I love feeding people. And you know, it just makes people happy to know mama's got them something good in the oven or in the ice cream freezer when they come over. I like feeding people. Of course, I got to tell y'all something. My granddaughter this weekend, she's in a different state than I am, but she sent me a message. She's 11, going on 12, and she said, Knocky, that's what they call me, is Knocky. She said, Knocky, I need the ugly biscuit recipe. And I said, okay, so I snapped a picture of it. She was at a family reunion somewhere on the lake, and she snapped a picture. I snapped a picture of it and sent it to her. Well, you know what that sweet little gal did? She made everybody there those ugly biscuits. Whoops. And what they ended up doing is saying those are the best biscuits they've ever had. So listen, if you hadn't made my ugly biscuits yet, go do it. You'll like it. Let me peel these right quick. This is what I do next with the potatoes. I peel the potatoes and then I chop them up. And I'm going as fast as I can, but you know, this is time consuming. And the peel comes right off. And you may say, why didn't you peel it before you started? Well, I'm going to tell y'all something. There's a lot of vitamins in the peel, and I wanted those vitamins in that broth. I mean, when you're dealing with somebody who's puny, you got to do everything you can to keep them well. So here I am peeling this. And it comes out pretty easy after you cook it like this. And I didn't even know about doing potatoes like this, but David's grandmother made the best sweet potato pies you've ever put in your mouth. And I have that recipe in the book as well, but she, instead of peeling her sweet potatoes and all that, she would boil those things, and as soon as they got done and cooled off, those, what she called the jackets, would slip right off of them. So that's a handy little trick to have. But here I go doing this. I hope y'all are making it okay as you watch me do this. I usually use a different knife, but I think it's dirty already, so we got to do what we got to do. And y'all remember my book, Happiness is Homemade, is on Amazon. Y'all go get you one. I've told you about that sweet little newlywed who tells me she uses that book every day to cook for her husband, and he's a happy camper, so that's a good thing. Have y'all been on vacation? We got to go to Missouri a while back, so if you've been on vacation, tell me below where you went. Give me a hint. All right, I got to chop these up, so let me get busy. And I chop these in comparable size to my little carrots and put them in there, because like I said, we got to take care of our people who are sick. And here I go. And you know, normally when I'm doing this, I'm not in a hurry because it's just me in the kitchen, but I hate to hold you so long, but this is how it is when I'm cooking in the kitchen. And I don't know about y'all too, but when I cook in the kitchen, if I'm worried about somebody, I cook and pray. Like David's mother's recovering from COVID right now, and I've been cooking and praying for her. I pray for our country, because good Lord, it needs it, and all that stuff. And if there's anything particular you pray about, put it down below and I'll say a prayer for you. Okay, let me get these scraps off, and we're about to move on with the soup. Okay, I got to rearrange stuff, so y'all talk amongst yourself. Let me move this all around. And I've got to bring over my pot. Okay, folks, remember this is my chicken broth right here. Now, normally I would do this on top of the stove, but since you're here and the camera's already set up here, we'll just do this right here and I'll pop it back over there. So what I'm gonna do is turn this chicken broth into a chicken soup. Now, there's several tricks I got, and I'm gonna show them to you right now. First of all, we're putting all these vegetables back in. We're doing the carrots. And look, if you like chicken soup with noodles, I do too, but when I'm making a pot that may sit in the refrigerator for a day or two, you know, as people eat on it while they're sick, I don't put the noodles in there with it because those noodles get mushy. So I'll make a separate thing of noodles and send it so they can add the noodles when they want the noodles. Okay, so I got that done. I'm gonna chop up some chicken here and pop that in there. Let's see where my knife is. Can y'all see this? Okay, I'm gonna chop it up where it's smaller pieces. This might be easier if I just tore it apart. Let's just do it the way I really do it. I don't usually chop it. I do this and I tear it apart. Okay, are y'all making it okay? I know I'm just tearing up chicken, but this is what it looks like. But just pull it apart, pull it apart. And you don't want to choke them with chicken. I mean, so you want to add about a 2 cups, maybe 3. If they're on the recovery side where they're more hungry, you can add more chicken. But if they're not, you know, I add a little bit of chicken, especially if they got if they've got upset stomachs. But anyway, my chicken soup is good if you're not sick. So, you know, this homemade stuff, it is so delicious. And I think you'll enjoy it if you make you some. Now, if you do anything different with your homemade soup, y'all list below what you do. Because, you know, we cooks have got to stick together and help each other out. We're feeding a lot of people. And you and I both know when people are hungry, they're cranky. So we got to keep people fed. All right. Let me move this aside. Okay, the next thing I do with this is I'm going to add some water to it because this is very, very concentrated. So I'm going to do 2 things to make sure I have the best broth around. I'm going to add 2 chicken bouillon cubes. You don't have to do this. If I don't have bouillon, I don't add it. It's still good. But this right here is going to help when I add extra water to it. So here I go, chicken bouillon cubes. 1, 2. Now chicken bouillon is really good. It's a lot of intense flavor, but it also has salt in it. So we don't want to taste this until after the chicken bouillon has dissolved. So what we'll do is add that and add some water. That's 2 cups. And I'm going to add 2 more cups. There we go. Now, this is going to need salt and pepper, and I'm not going to do that until I get to taste it later. So, this is what we have, y'all, a big pot of chicken soup. I'm going to get it to a boil and then turn it down to simmer. And then I will start putting it in containers after it cools to go in the freezer or either to carry it to somebody who needs it. Let me show you. I'll put it in containers about like this and let it cool completely. Now, if I'm taking it to them hot, I'll just, you know, wrap it up and take it to them right then. But if I'll take it to them or put it in the freezer later, I let it cool, put the lid on it, put a label on it, and make sure I know that it's my homemade chicken soup. And that's how I do it, folks, from top to bottom, from start to finish. This will go on boil, remember, and then I will put it on simmer for a little while. I'll taste it and salt and pepper it. So now you have my whole chicken soup recipe, and you also have my chicken broth recipe. So here it is. Let me put this over here. Okay. This has been a long day of cooking chicken, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And y'all send me a thumbs up if you think you're gonna make this recipe, because I sure would like to know who does. And if you do, list below and tell me what your experience was with it. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you what I always do. The good Lord loves you, and I love you too. And y'all have a great day. Bye.